In this episode of the Happy Hustle podcast, we have on Mr. Fred Joyal, and we're going to talk about how you can become more charismatic and how you can actually start to get away from that fear and step into courage and start to happy hustle your dream reality in the bold and beautiful way that you were destined to do so. We are going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle podcast. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, Mr. Fred Joyal, welcome to the Happy Hustle podcast, my brother. I'm super stoked to rock the mic with you.
I'm excited to be here, Carrie. We got so much we can talk about.
Yeah, we do, man. I mean, you're a keynote speaker, you're an author, you're an executive coach. You're just a happy hustler. And you have a new book out called SUPERBOLD, How to Go From Underconfident to Charismatic in 90 Days, which is phenomenal, by the way, that title and subtitle mix. So I'm really excited to talk about this because, you know, I really think charisma is one of those things that can be the difference maker between success and failure oftentimes. So I love that that's part of your title and your ethos. But before we get into all that good stuff, Fred, what's something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
I write short stories for my nephew, just for him, where he's the star of these mysteries. And I started doing it when he was 5 years old. And the best part was the first book I wrote, he was 5 and he announced it to the whole family. The whole family gathered for a reading, and he says, "We're about to read the greatest book ever written." So it's like, I've never gotten such a good intro before.
That's amazing. That's so cool, man. Well, listen, you have a really awesome entrepreneurial journey. I mean, I just was reading, your bio, and I'm like, damn, what? So you were the co-founder of Future Dontics, which is the parent company of 1-800-DENTIST, which over 30 years generated over $1 billion in revenue. And it's like, that alone is something I can't just not talk about. I want to talk about your book and everything, but just tell us what got you into entrepreneurship, and specifically, that company that you grew to such a large place.
Yeah, so my life really began when I discovered the advertising world, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I liked writing, but I worked in all sorts of businesses. But the day I walked into an ad agency was that you find your tribe. It's so exciting. I could do this. But the driver of being an entrepreneur was I'm not a very good employee.
Same.
So it was try starting my own business, and I had a partner, and we were the same. We had worked for good businesses and bad businesses, and good bosses and bad bosses, and we were young and naive enough to think we could pull it off. And we just got this phone number. It just came to us through another guy, and he licensed us the phone number. So we didn't even know dentistry when we got into it. We were just, we couldn't have known less. and we had to invent everything about the business. There was no template whatsoever. And you go somewhere between 2 and 3 years as an entrepreneur, you don't know if it's going to work or not. And then all of a sudden it pops and you're profitable. And there's that holy crap moment where you go this is actually going to work, maybe,
Yeah.
And so that's how it got started. And it had a long run.
So I want to dive a little bit deeper here, because I think it's some great lessons that can be learned from your experience. When you look at like that pop, you mentioned like that, holy crap, I'm profitable moment. Like, what was the difference there? Like, was it that your SOPs were in order? Like, you just like got your systems down, or you started to learn from your failures, or what was that catalyst moment, if you can recall, from that time period?
We realized that we needed a certain level of saturation in the marketplace of dentists paying us to justify the radio and then eventually TV spending. And that was when we had the saturation, then we jumped to television advertising from radio, because that's what we did for 2.5 years. And I just found these young guys to make me a television commercial super cheap, but I knew what I wanted, but I needed a crew. And that's when it blew up, because at that time, and this was the late 80s, it was the perfect medium to really push this phone number out. And we had this brand, this memorable brand. So we were in direct marketing, but we didn't need 90 seconds to respond. We had a 90-day half-life on our ads, is the way I looked at it, because of the memorability. And I didn't have to say my phone number over and over again. So I knew from advertising, I knew the leverage that we had. And we tripled the business. We went deep into profit. We went from like taking 20 grand a year out of the business a piece to 100 to 300, in 3 years succession. And then just kept going and growing.
Wow.
And learning the hard lessons along the way.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think the branding component comes into play. Like, that's one thing when I hear the term 1-800-DENTIST, it's so self-explanatory, right? Like, you call that number, and I'm assuming you had different dentists in different areas, and you got a percentage of when people booked, right? Is that kind of the model? We had a flat fee model. We had a classic recurring revenue model, which was actually a beautiful thing, because dentists weren't allowed to pay us like per referral at the time. There were all these restrictions in the dental code. So we had predictable income. We said, look, we're going to send you an average number of referrals, and it's going to be $1,000 a month. So we never had like fluctuations based on seasonality and stuff like that. We took advantage of seasonality just to zero in on it. Advertisers, advertising businesses, TV stations, are starving in the first quarter. Yeah. We loved the first quarter. We would back up the truck and buy, because we would get twice the advertising for the same money. So, and it was great, because that's when people were starting to think about taking care of their teeth again. So we really capitalized on that. And it was little tricks like that. And we did everything ourselves. I saw how ad agencies wasted people's money. And so I said, we got to buy our own media. And that's what we dialed into. And we always had a slush fund for, like, they would call us up and they'd say, somebody just dropped out of Oprah, which would normally, the 10-second tag at the end, which would normally be $50,000. Yeah. And they'd say, would you give us 5? Oh, hell yes. Yeah. But they knew that if they called us, we were the first call, because it was no debate. My media buyer she went, yes. Yeah. And easy sell. And that made all the difference. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's such a great point. And again, like, I want all the happy hustlers out there listening to this to think for their own business how this relates, because obviously, you having a super recognizable phone number like 1-800-DENTIST maybe isn't as relative. Like, in terms of the nitty gritty
No,
details.
like a phone number is worthless now, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But just take the overarching concepts of how you can think through the reoccurring revenue model in your business, how you can be, weatherproof, doesn't matter seasonality, right? How you can create something that you can offer a product or service at a fair price that delivers maximum value, but then also set yourself up for success when there are opportunities. I like the term slush fund, like you said, like, hey, this is money set aside for opportunities. Oprah, airing on the back end of her show, and you get a, whatever, 50% haircut off the price because you're prepared and you have your slush fund. Like, this is stuff that happens in business, and a lot of people miss opportunities like that. If you had to extract all your time growing this, this company, this multi, 9-figure company, what would you say if you could distill it down into one greatest lesson? I know it's tough, but what would you say is like the greatest lesson learned from that experience?
That almost okay, yeah, I do know the greatest lesson is our business didn't just survive, but we thrived based on key relationships. We built great relationships with our dentists. I mean, we built some practices. Guys were with us 20 years. They said, I can trace 90% of my patients either directly or indirectly to you. But we had relationships with vendors as well that were powerful. And there were times when we were in serious money crunches, like in 2000 when there was an internet crash, and we had gotten heavily invested in that. And literally one guy at the San Francisco television station saved us because everybody was going to take our credit away because we were slow paying. And he just called me up and he said, Fred, I just need to know if you're going to pay me. And I said, Bill, I'll tell you two things. I will guarantee on my life that we will pay you every penny, and I will guarantee you that it's not going to be on time. And he said, right. And he said, that's all I need to know. And he went in to his, his whole finance division, and he said, he's good for it. And because of it, because if you lose a station like that, it reverberates through the whole country, and you lose your credit, and you go from 90 days afloat to 30 days in advance. We would have been done. We'd have been wiped out. And that became our credit reference through a year of incredible hard times. One guy, one relationship, one conversation.
Powerful. I mean, that's a great takeaway. Like, think about business is all about relationships, right? Solving people's problems at a profit, sure, as my buddy Wade T. Lightheart says, founder by Optimizers, but you have to think about who are you doing business with? Whose problems are you solving? It's people. And you gotta be right, you gotta be kind, you gotta do right by people. And it's just a really great principle. I love that you said that. Now, if you're squeezing every one of your vendors for, and all they ever hear from you is complaints, and then squeezing for a discount or this or that again. We never did that. And because of it, we had a phone switch. We needed that vendor to fix it immediately if it wasn't working right. He had to drop and they would drop all their other people and come take care of us. And so don't be chiseling your key vendors because you think you're saving money, but you're slitting your own throat. Yeah, that's another great point. It's like, don't always try to negotiate the heck out of people to the point where they don't feel even good about doing the business. That's a really great point. Yeah. Like, it's got to be a win-win. So I do want to pivot into SUPERBOLD and just talk about your new book, because I know you put a lot of these lessons in your book. And I know you talk about like going from underconfident to charismatic in 90 days. I look at you now and I don't see anyone or even can fathom you being underconfident. So is this the case? Were you underconfident at some point, Fred?
Oh, I was a closet case. I mean, I was painfully shy growing up, and just missed and underconfident in so many situations. You know, asking girls out or even meeting girls, and missing out on fun and adventure and opportunity and promotions. And you know, like I had a guy that hired me, and I was working in this machine shop, and I was just working the floor. I did a bunch of, you know, dumbass jobs to just make money, so I could, I was figuring out what I wanted to do, and then I would take off again once I had enough money. And he said, I think you could sell. You seem like a smart guy. So he brought me up to an office. He sat me down and he said, here's, I got you a desk, I got you a phone. Here's a list of all the companies in the state. Start calling them and see if they want to do business with us. I couldn't dial the phone one time. I couldn't make a single phone call. I was back to the machine shop floor for me. But that was, I said, I gotta figure out a way out of this, because I would see bold people and I go like, why are they like this? Why don't they process rejection like I do? And I realized I was the one stopping me. And I had to fix that. I was waiting until I felt comfortable, until I finally realized I just have to be uncomfortable. And once I did it, then I realized that boldness created the confidence. I thought it was the other way around. And once I cracked that, I just started pushing myself into my discomfort zone over and over and over again. And it took me a lot longer than I'm talking about in the book, but I had compressed it down to how you can transform yourself so you can grow your boldness for the rest of your life. Meet anybody you want to meet. Try stuff. Don't be the one stopping yourself. That's what a super bold person is. And they step up when it matters. They step up, they speak up, they say yes, they say why not. That's the difference. And that's the difference between love and loneliness, success and failure, and regret and fulfillment, in my mind.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, bold claim, but I do agree, right? Pun intended. I mean, I think just getting out of your own way, like think of all the missed opportunities. Just right now, just you listening right now, think of all the missed opportunities you have potentially let pass you by because of fear, right? And that's really what it comes down to, right? Yeah. Fear is holding you back from your greatest expression of yourself, oftentimes. And then and not saying you ever really get rid of the fear, right? You're still a little bit fearful when you do go out on stage and you take that chance, or you meet that guy or girl and you're like putting yourself out there full board. Like you still have that fear, but you just learn to manage it and overcome it, right? So yeah. I'm curious, how do you actually push past that fear in your mind, Fred?
One of the key principles in the book is dosage. You're controlling the intensity of the experience. And so and it's the book has a series of exercises that you do, and they're based on the same way that you learn improv comedy, which most people say, how the hell do you walk on stage and create a scene from an audience suggestion? That seems insanely impossible, right? But the way they teach improv, you start actually non-verbally. So you build up gradually, and that's the way the exercises are designed, is to gently move you into your discomfort zone on an everyday basis, so that the muscle is strong when it matters.
Yep.
And then it happens.
Well, one thing I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. I have to tell you this. I did 3.5 years of Second City improv comedy in Chicago. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I tell people that was like the turning point in my career. I can tell you straight up, from acting and modeling professionally, like when I wasn't doing improv, when I was doing it, I booked so much more work when I had that improv training and when I put myself out there. So I love this, that you're going there. Continue, please. So I just wanted to double down on your point.
when people ask me, it's like, what can I do? Like, how else could I build this skill? I said, you need go study improv comedy. They teach it everywhere.
Yeah.
I said, even if you never do it, it is a life skill that you didn't even realize you had. But what happens is you learn to trust your brain enough to relax and be energized instead of anxious.
Yeah.
And that transition allows you to tap all of your creativity in the moment. And that way, and now you can meet anybody you want to meet. You can walk on stage and present your product passionately, coherently, without getting tongue-tied. And then step up when it matters. You know, stand up for somebody who's being bullied. Give a eulogy for your best friend instead of saying, "Oh, I'm not comfortable in front of people."
Yeah.
You get those windows closed like that.
Yeah.
And all you get to carry that regret forever.
Yeah.
My goal is to have people stop the regrets and chase their dreams and bring their full self to the world. You're depriving the world of your full self by your hesitation.
Amen, brother. Woo! I love it. That's good stuff right there, man. Because you know that feeling that Fred's talking about right now, like that regretful feeling where you're like, damn it, I wish I would have just did that, you know, and you kick yourself later. And that moment comes and goes. That's life, right? Like you don't get a lot of those opportunities, but you can actually make a choice in that moment to listen to your fear and your inner subconscious, or you could supersede past it, right? You could choose to actually, you know, have courage. And I just think for me, like something stuck with me in my improv class. I got to tell you, it's not PC, but my my improv trainer was like, Carrie, you need to bring your fucking bucket to stage, okay? And you just, when you go on stage, you bring out your fucking bucket with you, and you just dump it all out, all over stage. Fuck it, whatever happens, happens, you know? Yeah. And I was like, damn, that's good, because up until that point, like when I would go on big commercial castings or movie auditions or whatever, I was so worried, oh, are they gonna like me, or is this, you know, am I the right guy, or did I get my lines right? And then when I started just saying, you know, I'll do it, here's me, unapologetically so, you know, I'm just gonna rock with it and give less fucks. Oh my goodness, that was like game changer, you know? So I just think, to your point again, Fred, this is some real life-changing stuff. If you actually do want to like go and become more super bold, you gotta just get away from that fear, do some improv comedy training, like start to trust yourself and your brain, knowing that you will be okay, and don't miss those moments, right, where you can step into your full power.
And there's one of the other great lessons from improv is when you're in a scene, you're not worried about how you're going to end it. You just add to the scene. And and so I tell people, I translate that now. It's like when you're meeting somebody, particularly if somebody you want to meet, but just in general, have no agenda whatsoever. Aim for no outcome whatsoever. Yeah. Some of it, I just recommend, like if you're just trying to build your boldness muscle, just do drive-by compliments. Just go, somebody's at Starbucks waiting for their drink. You just go, man, that beard looks great on you. You know, it really fits you. And walk away. Yeah. Right. And you can do that with anybody. And you know what? You brighten their day. I do that, you know, in Starbucks, I'll do it. I'll walk back with they'll hand me the cup and I'll take a sip and I'll come back. And they're like, oh no, right? Something's wrong. And I'll go, this is absolutely perfect. And you know what? And it makes their day because everybody else is bitching about their coffee. Yes, that's who comes back. And instead, and you can see the change. It's a physical change. Why not do that all day long? And stop worrying about, oh, what am I going to get out of this? The only purpose of the conversation, the interaction, is connection, and you can do that you could be meeting the vice president of the United States and have that kind of conversation if you have no agenda.
Yep. So well said. I don't know if you have ever heard me say this before, but I've said this on multiple podcasts. I legitimately look for a compliment for each and every person that I meet, like a authentic feeling. Like if I look, and I was even going to say something about your glasses, and I kicked myself for not, because I was like, those are sweet glasses, Fred. And it really is something that like I recognized and I didn't say, and now I'm saying it live on the air, which is even delayed, better. But whatever. But the truth is, like, those compliments, they're so small, but they're so valuable. And one other thing too, you said go into an interaction without like a prerogative, like an objective, because I think that has been one of, like, when I look at my actual journey and I like retrace some of the things that I've done right and some of the things I've done wrong, which are, there's plenty of both. One of the things I did right was I've had more conversations where I had less agenda than vice versa. Right? I've had more conversations than I've had an actual, like, oh, I need to get this out of this person. And those interactions where I just literally see how I can add real legitimate value to them, those conversations flourish and they just become, ultimately a win-win partnership, right?
Yeah, and the other thing that happens when you're bold and you're not worried about the outcome, and you just say, I'm going in, I'm trying it. That sounds, you can hear the voice that says, oh, this could go bad. This could be embarrassing. You could look stupid. And you go, yeah, I hear you. I'm going in anyway. What happens, or you just say, I'm going to try it. I don't know how this is going to go. You're invited to some party. You go like, I don't know anybody there. I'm going anyway. What happens is, if you do this so often, there's an unanticipated benefit. Some crazy thing happens. Like, you'll talk to this person and you'll realize, they're not a prospect at all or whatever. So you don't have to think about that. But during the interaction, they'll say, are you single? And it's like, yeah, I am single. I have the perfect girl for you. And that all of a sudden, that's where it goes. That's the last thing you had on your mind. And it happens so often that it's like, no, I know a guy who, I get an investor group that is looking for exactly your kind of guy. That wasn't even on your mind. Mm-hmm. So you learn to trust. That's the payoff, is you say, if I don't worry about the outcome, there's going to be something interesting. It may not be financially interesting or emotionally interesting, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly, man. I love it. I don't know why this came up for me, but like, one of my comedy, icons is Will Ferrell, right? Like, and I was in Brazil for the 2014 World Cup, and there was a lot of people trying to get in to talk to him and whatever. Like, I was at a party, Rihanna was singing. It was like a whole thing. And I snuck into that party basically just by being super bold, even just to get in there. Like, I had a friend who knew the fire marshal. We snuck in. It was like a whole thing. But anyway, I went up to Will Ferrell and I was like, I'm going to talk to him. I don't care how many people are around him. And my opening line, I still kind of wonder why I went with this, but I was like, well, I'm going to put my nutsack on your drum set. What's up, man? I'm Carrie. Good to meet you. And he's like, what the hell? That line from Step Brothers?
Yeah.
And it took him by surprise. And we had a whole conversation because he was saying, oh, hi, okay, to everyone else. But I just went super bold. And then, we just had, and he didn't let anyone take pictures with him or anything, or his people didn't. I got an epic picture with him. We got a whole relationship out the deal. So it's like those little micro moments where you just put yourself out there. Now, I'm not telling you to go put your nutsack on anyone's drum set, but that concept, right, could be the difference maker and could be interesting, as Fred says, right? You never know.
You're being memorable. And the other thing is, it could go completely wrong. He could say, step back, right?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that bold people know that other people don't, is that bold people get just as much satisfaction almost from trying and failing
Oh yeah.
as they do as succeeding, because they didn't not try. That's what eats at them, is not trying. And they go, oh man, I ran up on that and fell on my face.
Oh yeah.
And they tell that story for the next 10 years. You won't believe. I saw Obama, and I went up and I tried to get him to join me, my buddies, for a pickup basketball game, and the service guys tossed me out a window. Yeah. But they asked.
Yeah.
And so that's how you get rid of the regret. It's not trying and succeeding. It's just the trying gets rid of the regret.
Yeah, right there, man. Love that. So you mentioned in 90 days, like getting to charismatic in 90 days. Like, how do you do that? Like, I know they got to get your book to go deeper, but high level, give us the steps.
So the book has 5 levels of exercise. And one of the other principles of the book, there's 5 principles in building your boldness muscle: preparation, relaxing, insight, dosage, and everyday action. And so we don't have time to go into that, but understand that I explain each of those. I talked a little bit about dosage already, but everyday action. If you do boldness exercises every day, and you start non-verbally smiling at people, smile at 5 people a day, 3 days later, you're going to start to say hi to some of those people. Yeah. And you're going to let it bounce off. When they don't say hi back, you don't take it on.
I am so excited to share with you the latest Montana Mastermind Epic Adventure. Now, I will say, due to many requests, we are doing a winter edition of the Montana Mastermind Epic Adventures. This means if you want to come skiing and snowboarding in Montana this upcoming March 2023, you can apply to come and kick it with me in person, shred some pow, and just be around a like-minded, happy, hustling, badass entrepreneurs who are all making over 6 figures, who are heart-centered, and who actually care about infusing passion, purpose, and a positive impact into their daily existence. We have so many cool things lined up. In addition to just skiing and snowboarding on amazing mountain Montana runs, we are going to be soaking at thermal hot springs. We are going to be doing some ice fishing and hiking and campfires and all sorts of cool activities. We're staying at a mountain mansion that is absolutely stunning. We have a professional chef who's going to be cooking up delicious, just amazing meals. And we have business masterminding going on, where we're going to just work through your adversities and your challenges, as well as share other people's wins and your wins, so that we can all learn from the collective wisdom. Just having fun, mixing business with pleasure, all in the beautiful Montana wilderness. I gotta say, I love me some masterminds, and this one is gonna be epic. So if you want in, apply today at carryjack.com/Montana. And I will say, spots are very limited. We cannot take very many people in this winter edition. It's already got a lot of interest and a lot of people signed up. And it's going to be a small, intimate gathering. So if you want in, jump on it before 2023 ends, or before 2023 starts, rather. So jump on it, carryjack.com/Montana. And I hope to see you on the slopes in Montana soon. Peace and love, y'all. Let's get back to this episode.
And I believe we have a mutual friend, Amber Letham, and when she was 19, she went door to door selling books, and she would knock on the average summer she would knock on 5,000 doors. Okay. Whoa. You can't feel the rejection after 5,000. It's like, you're just moving on. It's like the door gets slammed in your face. Okay, a little closer to the next sale. Yeah. And so that's all you're doing, is you're building like this callus against rejection, because it's not about you. And that's one of the insights, is like, bold people don't take it on. There's like 5 people in the world whose opinions really matter to them. And the rest of them, they don't worry about it, because people are just thinking about themselves. They're not still thinking about you. You're just still thinking about you 20 years later. You're the only one who remembers the embarrassing thing. But and so now you're going to build up. Now you're going to meet somebody new. You're going to do drive-by compliments. Now you're going to engage somebody, and you're going to feel every day you're going into your discomfort zone. Before you know it, one of my favorite exercises is in level 2 is, if you see a sign that says employees only, go in. Because nothing bad happens. There isn't somebody there to beat you to death on the other side. Nobody's going to arrest you. 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to say anything. And it's only because I want you to hear your voice going, I can't go in there. I can't go in there. It says employees only. That's right. It's a sign. You're not going in there to shoplift. You're not going in there to do anything bad. You're just going in there to find out nothing bad happens. And that's what most bold people know, is nothing bad happens 99% of the time, unless you decide to call it bad. You don't even, embarrassment's a choice. You don't have to take it on. You know, a quick story about embarrassment is, which is, and I love women who are like this. As a good friend of mine, she's a great speaker. She walks on stage, she's talking for 10 minutes. She's got like 500-600 people in the audience. 10 minutes in, she breaks a high heel. And there's an audible gasp from the audience, from the women, right? Because this is horrifying to a woman for this. She looks down, kicks off her shoes, and says, well, I guess I need to spend more than $30 on shoes from now on. The place falls out, right? Because they're so anxious for her, and she just laughed it off. Come on. She owned him at that point. And that's the kind of thing, she just made a choice. I can make this funny. She just did the rest of the talk barefoot. And that's all everybody remembers. Like, I can't believe that meant nothing to her. She made a joke out of it, you know? So,
well, rejection is a part of the game, right? Like you mentioned rejection. And I think as soon as you realize, like, you are going to get rejected and you have the ability to respond positively or negatively based on each rejection, like that, it's a choice. I can tell you, Fred, I've probably got rejected, not just in business, but alone from just like modeling and acting auditions. This statistic shocked me. At any given moment, there's a 97% unemployment rate in the modeling and acting industry, meaning 9 out of 10 people aren't working, right? So that means there's a lot of I just got rejected twice this past weekend for a Domino's commercial and a Jeep commercial. And I don't even do it full time or even part time. It's just like when my agents call, I do a little audition. They'll book me. Here's a couple G's. Here's, whatever. If I get it, great. If I don't, great. I don't care. But rejection, that really built my rejection muscle, because I almost feel it is like a muscle. Like you kind of like that. You're mentioning Amber, like you go and you knock on 5,000 doors. You get real strong when rejections come, right? Like it's part of the process.
You start to embrace rejection. When she's knocking on 5,000 doors, she's going, I'm trying to get 100 pitches for the summer, and I'm going to close 30 of them. So I got to knock on 5,000 doors to get let into 100 houses. It's just so every slam in her face is one step closer. It's like, the old Babe Ruth thing, it's like every strikeout and one step closer to a grand slam.
That's right. So you mentioned those 5 stages, and I want everyone to go get the book, because this is going to be a real game changer for you. It doesn't matter even if you are confident and charismatic right now, this will just enhance you and your confidence with more intentionality. But you mentioned preparation, insight, dosage, and everyday action. I know I'm missing one. Which one am I missing?
Preparation, relaxing, insight, dosage,
relaxing.
every day. So it's PRIDE, PRIDE.
Oh, I love that.
preparation is just, like as you go in, like you look at somebody and say, what's like you were thinking, I'm going to find some compliment. I'm going to pay somebody. I'm going to come up with something a little bit unique. And also I always like to bring it down to just meeting people, because being able to meet anyone you want is a huge life skill. It is, in terms of business, it is up there like in the top 3 of skills you need. And when you can do that by preparing yourself with just and not trying to be clever and not trying to be funny, because that creates a competition, right? Because now they have to feel like they have to be clever or funny. How about be nice, be complimentary, be interesting, be interested in them? Complimentary is so powerful. I have met so many interesting people by crafting the right compliment. I walked up to Tom Hanks years ago, and I was watching From the Earth to the Moon, that incredible series he was doing on HBO. And I said, Mr. Hanks, I just want to tell you, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. It's so fantastic, so engaging. And he was like gushing with gratitude. Oh, thank you so much. He says, it's such a labor of love. He says, after I did Apollo 13, I just had to do this and that. We ended up talking for 10 minutes about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So,
that's the stuff though. Like when you're actually interested, you're interesting. I like the PRIDE, acronym, because I think that's really great for people to remember. You got to have preparation, then you relax into it, then you have the insight, the dosage, and the everyday action. I mean, this is some powerful stuff, Fred. Where can people go to pick up a copy of the book and just learn more about you?
So you can go to fredjoyal.com, Joyal, and you can. There's a quick link to to buy the book on Amazon, and it's in Kindle and Audible, and it's me reading it, and it's hardcover. If you're reading the digital version, you can download a PDF of the exercises from my website so that you have physical, because you got to do something. This is a book about doing something. Don't just read it and go, that was a great book. What'd you do from it? Nothing. That makes me crazy. So this is a book about transforming yourself and creating the life you want, chasing your dreams. It's not about becoming a show off or something like that. So you can go to the website. You can also see some boldness lectures I've done, because I'm doing keynotes on boldness for business organizations. And you can download the first chapter of the book if you're too cheap to buy an actual book. But it either resonates with you or it doesn't. I feel that any book, like if you pick it up and you start it and you go like, this guy's full of shit, you're just not, it's not time to read the book. But as you said, anybody, wherever you're at, can be bolder. I've taken people who've painfully shy so that they're walking around interacting with people, and I've taken people who thought they were really bold, and they're just up their game to a whole different level.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there's levels to it for sure. So Fred, F-R-E-D, and then JOYAL.com. Pick up a copy, guys. Do yourself a favor. Get bolder. Now, Fred, I do want to ask you a couple happy hustle hack questions. So these are like a tip, a tool, a tactic in a specific arena that I like to ask all my guests. First being health. I know health's a priority for you. In order to be super bold, you got to be healthy, right? Do you have something in this arena, maybe something that you do that's a little unique that we could deem a happy hustle hack for the happy hustlers?
I have my overarching philosophy on eating is don't strain the filters. So the filters work really well if you don't overload them. If you don't overload your kidneys and your liver and your colon and all of that, you can eat some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But the better you eat, and there was a study done on people who just ate organic for 90 days and a control group that didn't, they had cleared 80% of their toxins in their body in 90 days.
Wow.
Just say, am I eating clean most of the time? You don't have to be rabid about it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. I enjoy eating, but I don't use it to satisfy emotional needs, and and the crappier your food, the more it's engineered for you to want more of it.
It's
in
so
case
true.
you haven't noticed, it's the sugar, salt, fat formula that works like magic for all these fast food places, and you can't control it. Your body will eventually go, let's eat more crap.
Yeah, that's a great point. Food is thy medicine, right? Let's talk about money. I think money, is a very important topic that doesn't get talked about enough. When it comes to, saving, investing, spending wisely, is there something that you do that we could deem a happy hustle hack in regards to money?
It applied to my business, and I learned it the hard way. As in business, it's like the slush fund. Have a war chest. Do not be like pushing all the chips right to the middle of the table every month and every quarter. Because there will be times where you can seize an opportunity, or there'll be times when shit goes bad, and you need buffer time to get through that. Same thing with your own life. You need a personal war chest against shit going bad. And if you spend less than you make, that's sanity. It's so much easier on your nervous system if you don't spend more than you make, which is what Americans are trained to do, what advertising is trained to make you do.
So true.
And so if you've got that, the younger you are, that's why I talk to high school kids and college kids, develop an addiction to saving. And just like throw money into this account that you're never going to touch. It's going to get to a size where you start to love that thing, and you won't, and it's there, and you just breathe easier.
Yeah.
Suddenly you need a new transmission. You got money for a new transmission. You're not like calling dad or Ubering everywhere for 3 months till you save the money. So that's it. Pursue sanity by spending less than you make, and have a little war chest.
Amen to that, my man. So well said. Yeah, just, I guess, quick caveat, like getting out of debt. Like for me, I was in, I had student loan debt coming out of college, and credit card debt a little built up, like 16K. And I just took my finances so seriously. I got out of debt in 20K in the positive in my early 20s by just looking at my finances every day, being very diligent about what I spend money on, what I save money on, and actually, being sane and smart with money. So it's really not that complex. Just listen to what Fred just said, and you'll be far better off. Now, Fred, I do want to ask you, just in terms of spirituality, do you have a happy hustle hack in this arena, something that you do to connect to a higher power that we could share with the happy hustlers?
Every morning I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And just to be focused on that, to like kick off the day with gratitude. Then I also write 3 things that are going to make the day great. And then honestly, this is how simple it is. I climb into bed at night and I say, thank you, God, for this day. Whatever the heck happened, good, bad, great day, troubling day, I got to be alive for 24 more hours. And I'm just, I'm not a religious guy, but I want to put it out there. It's like, I'm grateful in the morning, and I'm ending the day going, thanks for another day of living.
Yep. I love it, man. Well, this has been phenomenal, Fred. I do want to put you through the rapid fire round and just basically, ask you a couple random questions and see what you say. Are you ready?
All right. I better drink some water.
All right, drink some water. This is going to be, first thing that comes to mind. Ready? Favorite food? Go.
Spaghetti.
Favorite movie?
Dead Poet Society.
Favorite book?
Lonesome Dove.
Favorite workout?
Cycling.
Best business advice?
The same one I gave. I have a war chest.
What's your spirit animal?
Lion.
3 things you're most grateful for?
My lifelong, being able to work with my brother for pretty much my entire adult life, my robust health at this age, and all the incredible number of really, really good friends that I have all over the country.
Well said. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what does that say, Fred?
Get out of your comfort zone. It's just there to restore you, not a goal.
Boom. Fred, this has been phenomenal, brother. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom with myself and the Happy Hustlers, man. And just really grateful that we connected through, Brand Builders Group and that whole family, and just seeing where it goes, our collaborations and what you talk about, I'm very aligned with. So I'm just grateful for you putting together this work into a book form, because I know books are a labor of love. So the fact that you did it and did it well, I'm just grateful. So thank you, man, again.
Thank you, Carrie, for having me on. It's been great.
Yeah. Last thing I want to ask you is the question I ask everyone. But before I do, tell us again where people can go to get the book and your final call to action. If you could say one thing to everyone out there listening.
FredJoyal.com, FredJoyal, and books on Amazon as well.
Love it. Now, what does happy hustling mean to you? Final question.
It means you can't wait to get out of bed every day because there's a challenge waiting for you, and you're willing to enter that arena. You're not just willing to enter it. You're like excited to enter it. And the happy hustler is planning on going down swinging.
Love it. Mic drop. Fred Joyal, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everyone.